the magic number in terms of steps is 10,000 steps a day, right? All around the world, people are saying, "Oh, if I get my 10,000 steps, then I'm good." And one day I thought, well, where does this actually come from? So I dug into the research, and you know where it comes from? A marketing campaign for a Japanese pedometer company in the 1960s.
Wow.
Bugger all research behind it whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
But for me, the argument has now been put to bed because there was a bunch of Harvard researchers, led by a guy called Hernan Punzer, and they went and studied one of the last hunter-gatherer tribes on Earth. Right?
Mhm.
These guys are called the Hadza. They live in Tanzania in East Africa,
Yep.
and 90% of all of the food that they eat today, they get from hunting and gathering.
Hmm.
So this is the best snapshot into how much we should be moving with this hunter-gatherer genome. And what these Harvard researchers did is they put physical activity trackers on them and heart rate monitors, right? And that's important for a reason I'll get into in a second. But and they studied everyone from 15-year-olds up to 60-year-olds, half men, half women, and they looked at them for 2-week periods, 4 times during the year, so 8 weeks in total, because they wanted to see how much they move in the wet season and the dry season and all of that. But anyway, so it averaged out that Hadza women took about 13,500 steps a day, and Hadza men 18,500 steps a day, right? Now, the average American, the average Australian, the average Brit takes about 5,000 steps a day, right? So they're doing triple what we were doing. But then they looked at their heart rate monitors and the intensity of the activity. And this is really, really important, right?
Hmm.
Because you can do your 10,000 steps and be walking slowly versus somebody who's doing sprint training in those 10,000 steps. And it's a very different outcome, right?
Yeah.
So, and you look at all the government guidelines, they talk about moderate and vigorous physical activity. And the
Yeah.
recommendations in your country is the same as here. It's a minimum of 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity a week, or 75 minutes of vigorous spread over the week. The Hadza, it turns out, do 135 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity every single day. That's
Hmm.
945 a week. That is about 7 times the amount of the average American or the average Australian. And the reason that this is really important is that exercise actually controls gene expression, right? It actually affects how your genes are switched on. When we exercise, it releases these things called myokines, these chemicals that get into your brain and all your organs and make them function really, really well. So the snapshot is we are not moving anywhere near as much as we should be moving. You know, that
Yeah.
3 to 7 times the amount. That's what hunter-gatherers actually move.
Yeah. What's the danger of not doing that? Like, what's the danger
So
of, from like a health perspective, brain perspective, of not getting that movement in?
how long have you got for me to answer this question? I
As
mean,
long as you want.
it's a great question because there was a really cool research paper released by these world class exercise physiologists that showed that exercise can prevent or treat 26 of the most common chronic diseases that we
Mhm.
suffer from. So the danger is when you're not exercising, it massively impacts your biology in both your body and your brain, right? So,
Mhm.
so these myokines that I talked about are these really important chemicals that are released in your body that make your heart function better, your kidney, your liver, all of your organs function better, and they really make your brain function better. They release or trigger the release of a whole host of neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, noradrenaline, endocannabinoids,
Yeah.
endorphins, which most people have heard of endorphins, but every time you exercise, there's this like it's like an orchestra of neurotransmitters that are released in your brain that makes your brain function better. So by not moving, we're actually destroying our biology, bit by bit. The human genome is built on movement. That is the critical thing. So if you take that away, all your entire biology actually suffers. Your gene expression changes, and you get much more chronic diseases.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to watch more content, click this video right here. And please don't forget to subscribe right here. Thank you.